All right, welcome back to the Elias Macco Show. It's 11:21. As Finance Minister François-Philippe Champagne called on ministers to slash 15% of their department's spending over the next 3 years, one department might see their budget get slashed by over 80%. Report out this week that Women and Gender Equality Canada, an internal document that was released last month that depicts a $407 million budget this year, but cut all the way down to $76.3 million by 2028. And staffing levels are also going to drop from 444 employees to 254 3 years from now. The prospects of these massive cuts to this one department has alarmed women's organizations and some policy experts. Let's go to Carolyn Codsi, who's the founder and chief equity officer of Women in Governance. Carolyn, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Elias. How are you?
I'm doing well. Listen, I know you were a supporter of Mark Carney and his election here. Is this what you voted for?
Well, it is very surprising. The good news is because at some point, way before Mark Carney became a candidate, we were unfortunately skeptical that the Liberals would still be here. At Women in Governance, were actually prepared for a potential Conservative government that would be gutting women and gender equality ministry. So we very selfishly are fine because we are not funded by government. Mm-hmm. We're funded by the corporate. So I really am speaking here on behalf of all those organizations who are going to see their funding gutted at a time where it is still crucial that they receive all the support that they need, because we are so far from having attained any of the objectives. Even in a lot of aspects, we're moving backwards. And you may remember when Mark Carney had his interim government, he was very criticized by the fact that there was no Ministry for Gender Equality at that time, right?
Yeah.
And I was very vocal with saying, wait, this is just an interim government. Who cares? Just give it time. And then Richie Valdez was elected minister. And I've met her and I had put my photo with her all over. I was so excited that because she has a very interesting personal story, Richie Valdez as well. And then this. Mm-hmm. And this really comes as a shock, honestly, because we're not talking about a small rollback, right? Like, this is huge. Yeah. We're talking up to 81%. And I think it really sends a devastating signal at a time, quite frankly, where I'm working very hard. My organization's working very hard to making sure that we maintain our Canadian values, that we don't associate with what's going on at the south of our border, and that rhetoric doesn't invade our country. So I've had conversations with people who were telling me, oh, well, they're doing this because they have the feeling that it's no longer needed. A lot of the funding was actually temporary funding and was, also positioned that way. To be honest, not all of it is like being gutted from things that were permanent. Some were just temporary, but now we're really going with the chainsaw. Honestly, Elias, the numbers are really disastrous. They still are.
I'm Dylan Playfair.
And I'm Tyler Smith.
We're putting loneliness in the penalty box by talking to some of our favorite athletes about the importance of friendship.
This is Bromance.
Bromance is brought to you by Charm Diamond Centers, proudly Canadian-owned and operated. Charm has been part of your love stories and bromances for over 50 years.
And you can find Bromance on the iHeartRadio network or wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, so I have to ask you, what is the message being sent? Because listen, everyone's being asked to cut. Every department is being asked to cut, but they're asked about 15%. What's the message when this one department gets told it's not 15% for you, it's 80%? What's the message being sent?
Look, there's two things. One could be, which I've been told that I'm not buying, is, oh, but we're doing well in Canada. But the truth is, no, we're not. We're not doing well. We're way lower than the Europeans in terms of number of women on our boards. We're at about 29% here in Canada, and Europe is over 40%. So it's not like we can say, oh, we're leaders. You know what? We're really good in marketing in Canada, marketing ourselves as being the gender equality champions. I mean, I'm riding that wave. I've traveled the world. I'm speaking on that topic everywhere. But you know how I am. I'm very authentic and I speak the truth. And I say, look, yes, in our culture, we respect women. Yes, the workplaces are working very hard to make it equitable for women to advance to the top. But our numbers suck, honestly. We've got 5% of women CEOs in the 500 largest companies in Canada. That means 95% of predominantly white, obviously, men are at the head of our Canadian organizations at a time where university graduates are 60% female. So it's not that we're not educated. There's a lot of also research that demonstrates that we have ambition levels that are equal or even a little bit over male ambition levels. So there's no logic to this, right? So it's just shocking. So to me, this is just, sort of making things up. The other part that I believe a little bit more is we're trying to make nice with Donald Trump on that.
I'm Dylan Playfair.
And I'm Tyler Smith.
We're putting loneliness in the penalty box by talking to some of our favorite athletes about the importance of friendship.
This is Bromance.
Bromance is brought to you by Charm Diamond Centers, proudly Canadian owned and operated. Charm has been part of your love stories and bromances for over 50 years.
And you can find Bromance on the iHeartRadio network or wherever you get your podcasts.
But do you think he'd look at that like it's a blip, like that money is a blip? Like, I don't think he's focused on that. So you could continue to fund this. It's not like Donald Trump would say. Like, I find it hard to believe that Donald Trump would care about what we do with our budget. We can waste or spend our money any way we want.
No, I don't agree, Eliza. Let me tell you why. So, I do a lot of work with France. And so French companies that are suppliers of the federal American government have all received from the American ambassador in Paris, who, look him up, he's total crook. So that letter says, "Dear supplier, please sign here that you will be immediately stopping any programs within your organization in France for DEI if you want to continue to be a supplier."
I believe that. I totally believe that when it comes to U.S. governments and suppliers, putting the heavy on companies, totally believe that's happening. Let me just go through this, Carolyn. We're with Carolyn Codsi. She's the familiar voice you're hearing right now. She often comes on the Big Five at 9:05. She's founder and chief equity officer of Women in Governance. And we're talking about this report that shows there will be a slashing of the budget for Women and Gender Equality Canada, that federal department. So as I read this report, right, two of the programs that they're going to cut, okay, the National Action Plan to End Gender-Based Violence. The other is the 2SLGBTQI Community Capacity Fund. I said this in jest this week on the show, but, if Mark Carney showed up to a church and announced these cuts, the city of Montreal would fine the church $2,500. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, those two things. So, I go to this surprise and, these are the Liberals. These are your guys. And I wonder how great the disappointment is.
Well, of course. I mean, the disappointment is huge. I'm definitely, I'm shocked. I'll be honest. I understand the fact that, we're looking at quickly addressing deficit concerns, demonstrating responsibility early in the mandate. But the message that this sends, I mean, I don't know who is in charge of communications around this and optics and PR, but whoever they are, they're being really stupid because women are definitely a force to reckon with and have brought Carney to power because there's a lot more women who are concerned. And I've been vocal about this. If you remember on my social media, I was completely anti-Poilievre on saying, this man would rather see us in the kitchen than in the boardroom. So, yes, it is, it does feel like...
Can I throw one thing at you, Carolyn? Perhaps the problem is, and we look at it, we've seen the polling. Women now have gone so far, and in the last election, to one party, everyone seemingly abandoned the NDP, that when a group of people goes and will only vote for one party, they're taken for granted. Isn't that what's happening here? You're being taken for granted by a party that thinks, you're in the bank.
That's a possibility. I think that, I mean, at this point, the problem is, what are our options? What were our options at the time? What are our options today? NDP, is NDP going to come back? I don't know. I think they could.
Yeah.
And they would definitely probably be able to rally a lot of voices behind them. And they could, if they're smart, they're going to choose to take that and make it one of their, sort of flagships. And it would not be shocking, because coming from them, it would be
right up their alley.
Very,
right up their alley.
Yeah, exactly. Easy to do. But we, at the same time, let's be realistic. If we had voted NDP, we would have diluted the Liberal vote, and we would have helped the Conservative get elected. So we did what we had to do. There's no regret there, if that's your question. Now, the work that we're doing, I've got so many ideas.
No, listen, I hear it. I hear it, Carolyn. Listen, we're up against the clock. I do want to thank you for coming on and getting your voice on this perspective outside of the Big Five.
I'll tell you one last thing, really quick, because this is one thing, but we're not in a silo. We're in a global community, and in other countries in the world, things are still moving forward. I'm giving a really big conference in Marseille on September 18th. France is still strong, and it's the $6 billion man who's funding this. It's this Lebanese French man who's literally worth $6 billion. So there's still a lot of effort. Morocco, we're launching in Morocco. The king has done legislation for women on boards in Morocco. Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman has invested this in Vision 2030. I could go on. So
listen, Morocco and Saudi Arabia, paradigms of equality for women. I hear you, Carol.
They're starting to do the work while we are starting.
I know. Something's better than nothing. Something's better than nothing. Yeah. Okay, Carolyn, be well. Thanks so much. Come back real soon. That's Carolyn Codsi, founder and chief equity officer of Women in Governance.
I'm Dylan Playfair.
And I'm Tyler Smith.
We're putting loneliness in the penalty box by talking to some of our favorite athletes about the importance of friendship.
This is Bromance.
Bromance is brought to you by Charm Diamond Centers, proudly Canadian-owned and operated. Charm has been part of your love stories and bromances for over 50 years.
And you can find Bromance on the iHeartRadio network or wherever you get your podcasts.